3, 4. E-L-O-E-J, a little aloha in our day. Spread a little aloha around the world at breakfast with Bob.
Thank you, Poncho Man. Welcome, everybody. Breakfast with Bob, our Nice World Championship edition. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by HOKA, Fly Human Fly, Master Spas, Precision Nutrition, Deboer Wetsuits, Outrigger, Kona Resort and Spa, Stay Longer, Save More, and our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, I think the first time we chatted back in 2019, ironically in Nice, getting ready for 70.3 Worlds. It has been 6 years since we first interviewed Sam Long. Now he's number one in the U.S. on the PTO Tour. He's a husband. He is a father. A lot has changed since we first connected 6 years ago. Mr. Sam Long, how you doing, buddy?
Very good to be here. Crazy. That, in some ways, 6 years ago is a long time ago. But so much has happened in 6 years that it actually, when I look back, I go, that it's only been 6 years. All this has happened in just 6 years. It's kind of crazy.
I know. And then it's funny because I remember doing our interviews for Tri Club and you were, I just moved out of my parents' basement and I'm and now you're traveling the world. You're part of the T100 circuit. You're getting ready for the Nice World Championship. Everything has been going really, really well for you, Sam. And so talk a little bit about you talk about transitions and just going from being a single guy, married, kid, and everything that's happened in your life. When you look back 6 years ago at that, Sam, how are you different?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm now 29, but really things started to change. It wasn't even 2019 that things started to change because I moved out of the house, out of my parents' basement in 2021, at the end of 2021. So I was living in the parents' basement, and then I also bought my first car in 2021 ever. So like it really, the changes started in 2021, and then I moved out of the basement, moved to Arizona. So that's not where I live, where I moved in with who was my girlfriend at the time, who then became my fiance, who's now my wife. So all that's happened since 2021. I've now bought a house. I now have one baby boy who's 2 years old and another one coming in November, another baby boy in November. So it's just like all this stuff happened so fast, as you know, not to mention obviously on the triathlon scene as well. I was like, okay, 2021 was kind of the year I started to be somewhat known, but you know, even since 2021, it's just continued to establish myself and continue to win races and continue to be up there with the best guys in the world on a frequent basis. And it's been a great ride. And of course, you have to transition yourself throughout all these times, right? Like you have to adapt your mind to where you currently are. You have to adapt to new things because I don't have as much time available to train as I used to. You know, I used to be the guy, I think I'd sit down with you and I'd be the guy who would go and ride my bike for 9 hours. And everyone thought I was crazy. And I was crazy. To be honest, I was crazy because riding a bike 9 hours is completely crazy. And now, I definitely don't ever ride my bike 9 hours, I'll be honest.
How has it changed being a dad? Right, because the nice thing is when you come home from a workout, Leo doesn't give a crap if you had a good workout or bad workout. It's just daddy time. Or if you have a race that you're not happy with, he doesn't care, right? It's all about you get to spend time with that very special person.
Yeah, exactly. I would say it's really taught me being a dad or everything. It's all about being present in the moment of now, in the moment of now. So it's okay when I'm being a dad, when I'm spending time with him, be there with him, be present with whatever it's doing, whether we're playing hide and seek or eating or he's throwing a tantrum, but don't be off in the clouds thinking about my training and doing that. And then same thing. Okay, when I'm riding my bike, when I'm in the pool, be present with the movements of those things, of being the best I can be doing that. And I think this is a thing to do to be successful, to get good at what you're doing, but I also think it's probably even more important to be happy with what you're doing, because it's so easy to always be doing something, but always be somewhere else in your mind. And instead you need to be, if you can align your mind with where you physically are, then everything kind of connects.
So with the T100 series, I mean, you've had some really, really good results at T100. At the same time, with all the ITU athletes that have moved in there, it's tough because your swim is always going to put you at a deficit. How do you look at those races? Because you committed to the season to do T100, and it isn't for you to go and say, I'm going to go win. It's very difficult for you to say, I'm going to go win a T100. But what do you gain from those races? Because you go into those races, you have to become a little more humble because you know that it's going to be tough. You know it's going to be easy to find your bike in transition because you're going to come out of water a little bit behind everybody else. Hey, there it is. It's right there. But at the same time, you gain from that because of the speed that you're doing is going to translate when you're going 70.3 in full.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a couple thoughts on this. And one is a joke, because in the last T100 race, normally I scope the transition area out. I figure out, okay, where's my bike and place into others. And I realized, oh, shoot, I forgot to do this. I don't know exactly where my bike is along the line or anything. And then I went, God, it's not going to matter. It's going to be the only one there. and it was. But then with the 200, I think about it in two ways. So one, I think, well, gosh, how do I start with this? Okay, I think it's good to think about it like a stock portfolio, an investment portfolio. Yes. Okay, so T100 for me this year is like investing in bonds. Okay, it's like the risk-free. I'm guaranteed a contract. It gives me security, which is so great to have a family. It's like, okay, I know I'm getting X amount of dollars for the year. I know I've got to do these races, and because it actually eliminates financial risk, it opens up opportunity risk, because then I can basically say, okay, if we want to look at the Ironman races, maybe as stocks, it's like, okay, well, cool, I'm investing in my Ironman Nice World Champs is investing in Tesla. Because I've got my bases covered, I'm going to go and I'm going to invest in Tesla. And, well, if it fails, fine. But if it goes to the moon, then even better. You know what I mean? And that's the way of risk versus reward. But I also think there's a way to look at it in terms of development and facing your weaknesses. And by going in the T100, I'm doing the uncomfortable thing, and it's forcing me to develop my weaknesses, both mentally, because it's like every time I'm on a T100 start list, like they're the hardest races I ever do mentally. I mean, I'm in last, like every single one, I'm in last place at least 50% of the race. At least 50% of the race, I'm in last place. Like people don't know what that, every single time I do that, that's what it is. And so it's sometimes it can even break me, to be honest, but I do think it's made me stronger. I know it can be stronger mentally, and I also know, like, even when I then go to other races, I still have to come. Yes, maybe I'm not in last place, but I'm still coming from behind. So I have to learn to create the behind position as a position of strength.
Well, and just what I've seen is because you're sort of used to it, the way you come out of the water now, you lose nothing. A lot of people, when they're struggling in the water, they're fatigued when they come out of the water. You look like you're shot out of a cannon. When you come out of the water, you're immediately flying on the bike, right? You're up to speed right away because you're sort of used to it. And it's like you're less fatigued with the swim than you were back in the day.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I love and when you look at this course is perfect. Obviously, you're a bigger guy, so you go, okay, 8,000 feet of climbing isn't great for me, but you're a great climber. And this course gives you time to make up a lot of ground on a lot of folks. And and again, I think the way you're running now too, you're going to be attacking the bike, and then on the run with that's a fast run. There's a great chance you can make up a lot of ground. I think it's a great course for you, where a lot of people probably don't. But how do you look at it?
Yeah, I've really thought about it because, okay, when they first changed Kona to Nice, at first, okay, like all of us, I was a little bummed.
Yeah.
But at the time, I really came to come around to it. And then I realized it's possible that Nice potentially plays into my strengths actually better than Kona. Now, I think because I'm so good in the heat, I also think Kona is a very good course for me as well. But
Yep.
we've seen with the 12-meter draft rule that potentially Kona is more of a pack. It's with the men's field, with how deep it is, it's turned really tactical.
Yes.
And is probably at this point the fairest course I would say we have on the circuit, more or less. I mean, maybe there's a couple others, but you're talking 8,000 feet of climbing, and it starts with basically 2 hours of climbing right out of the get-go. So like that separates everyone, and I think you have to be able to do everything well on the bike, and that challenge really excites me. And then of course the bike is very difficult, so then that means the run is even more difficult. Like the run, in my opinion, is always determined by how hard the bike is. And so I don't think there's any such thing as an easy bike at Nice, or there is, but you're going to lose so much time that it's not going to matter. So you have to be prepared to ride really hard and then run well off. And yeah, I know like I'm going to lose definitely some time in the swim, but the nice thing is I'm used to now losing 4 or 5 minutes in a T100. So 4 or 5 minutes over an Ironman suddenly seems like not such a bad perspective, right?
Exactly. And the thing is, with your background from XTERRA, we've seen, the Bradley Weiss, we've seen people who do really, really well at Nice because they're used to, they're like the guys. I remember interviewing folks 2 years ago leading into that race, Bradley Weiss and other folks who were really, really successful at XTERRA. They were like, this is the best. All the road furniture out there, all the steep downhills. This is exactly what you were doing, right? So I think that I always look at the Nice course, people who've done well at Optiwez or people who have XTERRA background. It's a challenging bike course, but because of your skill on the downhill, and because of your ability to, a lot of guys are going to be freaked out because they're riding and it's like out of sight, out of mind. You're used to that because you've been coming from so far back. Yeah, you're not usually connected to the front part of the race anyways. So now everybody's dealing with the same thing. Plus your skill set on the bike is different than a lot of other guys.
Yeah, exactly. And this is also why I've been already in Europe. I got in Europe July 7th, and I'm here in Italy / the Slovenia border. And so I'm doing some extremely technical descending routes that you just can't find in America. And that's been such a key part of my preparation because, like I was doing the XTERRAs back in 2017, 2018, 2019, and then I kind of took a break. And then when I moved to Tucson, and all the American races, you're all just on these big highways, more or less. I mean, even St. George, yes, it's got climbing, but you're still on these big highways. There's no real cornering or descending or anything. And so Tucson is the greatest place on earth to prepare for all those races because you just get in the aero position and you ride. But then being here for 2 months, I've actually been able to really notice these skills come back and even hone them and develop them further,
So I was just looking back at your career from starting in 2000, your pro career, 16. So really, you got 17 pro wins, but you didn't get a win until 2019. So you had 16, 17, 18, then you get 3 wins in 19. And I love looking back and just seeing how consistent you've been since then. A couple wins pretty much every year, and now you've done 17 fulls, and you've got 2 wins at your fulls.
3 wins.
What was your third one?
Ironman Chattanooga.
Yeah. Sorry,
that's why people forget this one. That the swim, of course, I can't control if the swim's canceled.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah, so you got 3 wins, 17 fulls, 3 wins. 17 fulls isn't a lot. Now you did a bunch as an age grouper too, I'm guessing. Did you do a bunch as an age grouper?
I think I'm at like 24 total or something.
So you did like 6 as an age grouper. I was interviewing Joe Skipper, in Challenge Roth. He's at like 40. That's a lot of freaking full Ironmans. You've done actually over really, if you think about it, going back 9 years or as many years you were as an age grouper as well. That's not that bad. That's not that much of accumulation of fulls. You've done a good job.
This is a big point. This is actually a big point of my career, and this is something that I think has been misunderstood or not seen over the last couple of years, because I was on a trajectory of doing 3, 4, 5 fulls a year.
Yep.
And I started to realize that I actually basically needed to take a break from doing that many fulls a year if I wanted to basically have a long career, because it's great. You do 1 full. Oh, you love it. You're hooked. You do 2 fulls. Okay, you're still hooked. But you start adding these up, 3, 4 a year. You don't realize, and then you get 5 years in and you start to notice your body's a little different. You're just more chronically tired. And so I realized, okay, I actually, in 2022, I realized this. I said, I actually need to slow the full distance down a little bit and do fewer of them and fewer full distance training blocks over the course of the year. And so that's why now I guess I'm considered more of it's funny, I'm considered a middle distance specialist, even though I've done 24 full Ironmans. I want to say I'm a middle distance specialist. I would say I'm pretty balanced across both, but
Yes.
I want to have a career till I'm 40. And, you know, if you do the math, okay, well, I started doing 3 fulls a year when I was 19 years old. Well, by the time you get to 40, you've done something of like, if you're doing 4 a year, you're talking about 100 full Ironmans.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, I do think there's a little bit of a wear and tear on the body that you want to think about.
Well, not only wear and tear in the body. I remember when we were covering marathons, the top guys, and sometimes you get to a point where you're looking at a guy who's done 15 marathons at a high level, and you can see in their eyes they don't want to be there, right? You can see before the race starts, they know what mile 20 is going to feel like. They know what it's going to be. And I've seen that with Ironman guys too, where they sort of get into that rut of doing 3, 4 a year, and before they know it, that they can't dig any deeper. There's a point where you just can't do it anymore, right? So
being a novice at the full marathon or the full Ironman, that is beautiful, and I envy, because you don't know yet how painful it is, and when you get there, you're actually like excited. Oh yeah, this is how much it hurts. This is how much my legs hurt. I can't wait. But then you do 4 of those a year for 5 years, and suddenly you're just like, you're not sure if you want to go there. And if you want to win one, you have to be, I would say, outside of training or anything else, you have to be sure that you want to go into that place. That's really the number one question I'd ask myself if I'm ready for a full. It's not, have I done of course you need to do the training, but I think if you've done less training, but you're willing to go to that place, you're probably going to be better off than someone who's done the training, but is not willing to go to that place.
Yeah. And that's what I love about this, the fact that when I look at 2025, you've, 12th at London T100, 11th Vancouver. You win Chattanooga 70.3. You win Eagleman 70.3. You get second at St. George, 8th at Singapore T100. I mean, what's great is you're doing one. You're doing your full, right? This is it. You're able to focus and put all the eggs in the basket. You've taken care of your contractual obligation, T100. You've basically did speed work. Right here, my speed work days are going to be London, Vancouver, Singapore. I'm going to do all my speed there, and then I'm going to take that speed and I'm going to go kick ass in Nice and potentially podium or win Ironman World Championship.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I do think I set up a very, very smart year, and obviously, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do my best. And I've set my goal as a top 10, a realistic top 10. I think is quite achievable. And obviously, anything more than that is great. But I've changed in the past also, in the sense that, like five years ago, for example, I thought it would maybe be easy to win an Ironman World Championships. But now it's like, I know how good everyone is. Like, I know how good these guys are, and I know how hard it is. And so which is a good thing, because I realized, like, okay, when I'm out there running the marathon in Nice, it's like, it's really hard, and these guys are really, really good. And you also can realize, okay, if I go and I get 7th at the Ironman World Champs, well, that's actually really, really good.
Really
it's phenomenal. That means you're the 7th best guy in the world in a sport that's really, truly evolved to such a high point.
Well, and you're ranked number 1 in the U.S. right now. Right, that's pretty cool for PTO. That's pretty special.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've really worked hard on. I've only fallen out of number 1 U.S. rank once since 2021. So always working hard on that, and it's going to be a big battle with the Americans there as well. But I also hope the Americans do super, super good there.
So it used to be people looked at it, even going into when we sort of were in the world of the unknown when we had Ironman World Championship in Nice 2 years ago, and people were telling Sam Laidlow and Magnus Dietliff, God, you guys are too big. There's a lot of 8,000 feet of climbing. You guys are big guys. There's gonna be a little guy who's gonna win this thing. Well, no, it wasn't. It's like, Magnus got third and Patrick got second, and Sam Laidlow ends up winning. So
Yeah.
big guys can do well on that course because it is a power course. It's a technical course. It is the type of thing that you have to be attacking the whole time. So the size doesn't matter as much as the power.
Yeah, and I've got a few thoughts on this as well.
Yeah.
So first off, if you gave the Nice course to the Tour de France, you know what they would classify that as? They would classify it as a flat day, pretty much a flat day. No, they would. They would say maybe it's actually they would probably say it's for the sprinters because the final 12K is on the flat. So it's probably for the sprinters is what they would say.
Yeah.
So that puts it into perspective. It's just that we're used to seeing 4,000, 5,000 feet of climbing. But again, the Tour de France over 180K, they would consider 14,000, 12,000 climbing. And
Great
so
point.
I think it's that we are seeing, yes, it's still incredible climbing, and there's some power to weight climbs, but it's like a power rider's course as well, because you're looking at a lot of it. The main climb, which is about 45 minutes, the average is 4.6%. So you're not looking at a point where weight is, obviously it's still important. You got to be strong relative to your weight, but it's not, you don't have to be, a 60 kilogram Tour de France rider in order to go. Laidlow, actually, he set the KOM on this 2 years ago compared to pro cyclists. So clearly it shows if you've got the power, you can do it.
So have you ridden the course? Obviously you rode the course before in 70.3 Worlds, but have you gone out and just ridden the course while you've been in Italy, while you've been in Europe?
So far I haven't. It was kind of a big debate. But I get there. I'm getting there 2.5 weeks beforehand. So I basically decided, okay, 2.5 weeks, I'll have enough time to ride it and see everything. It was just weighing the pros and cons of, okay, otherwise I have to travel, right? It's basically a travel day each way. So it would just kind of disrupt training. And, but I get there. Actually, I leave in 9 days now. So
nice. One of the being in Arizona and obviously having such a great relationship with Lionel Sanders, it would have been nice for you guys to be able to be in Italy together, training for this thing. Obviously, injuries make a difference. Talk a little about the impact that guy's had on your career, because there's just such a cool relationship there between you two guys.
Yeah, so the running joke with us at first was because they actually were going to come stay, him and Aaron and Levi, their boy, were going to come stay in the same town. We're here in this little town. I mean, you're talking a town of like 50 people, but it's because that's where Laura's grandma lives and her dad and her mom are from here. And so like I get all my meals cooked. Every meal is cooked for. I pretty much have a professional chef. Every meal is cooked for, so it's great. And Laura's got people around, so I'm basically free to train as much as I want, and I know everything's taken care of. But anyways, Lionel and Aaron were going to come and stay with us, but because there's really no hotels, they were going to have to stay in like a campground. So
see, Lionel's a camper.
Yeah. So then he was joking like, man, you guys are going to be living in the house and I'm going to be in the campground trying to train. How things have changed since the beginning, But
he was the guy. He was the guy who got you going.
Yeah. I mean, he still is kind of the man in the sport in a lot of ways, and he's done so much for the sport and he's done so much to motivate me. And I think he's just a great ambassador for the sport of triathlon, but also a great ambassador for endurance sports as a whole, and he's just inspired so many people, and he really likes to bring other people up. I've seen that in him, and that's really cool. Like bring up young up and coming guys, Right.
I love that. So you'll stay in Italy until what'd you say, another week or so, and then go down to Nice?
Yeah, I leave like the 25th of August, I think it is.
and then head down, and you'll spend your time in Nice, get ready for what will be a finale. It'll be the last time Ironman World Championship will be in Nice. That's pretty cool. Obviously, Sam wants to repeat what he did 2 years ago because he's a French guy, and that was a huge win for him. But it's funny because obviously Christian, Gustav add a little spice to that lineup of people who are racing. Rudy von Berg. I mean, it's pretty packed. It's gonna be a hell of a race.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a race. I mean, I feel like this year, if we've looked, like Christian Blue has to be going in as I mean, he's been unstoppable.
Yep.
He's been unstoppable all year. It's been kind of crazy, but hey, you know what? You know why we've run a race, Bob? Do you know why we've run a race?
Because you can.
Yeah, well, because you can, but because it's not a piece of paper. You don't get it right. Oh, Christian's better than Sam Long, and Sam's better than this person, and these are the results. If we could do that, we wouldn't have to run the race. We run the race because it's about what happens on the day. It's about who the preparation up, and that's the great thing about a full Ironman is a lot of times our biggest enemy is ourselves in the training, right? Because in order to get ourselves ready to race the Ironman World Champs, we have to take so many risks with pushing our bodies to the limit to get strong enough, right, to do that. And I'd say about 30% of the time, the body can break before you even get to the start line. And so you never really know who's showing up with what. And that's why I'm so excited to run the race, just to see what's going to happen and have that belief in myself. But no matter what, do whatever I can with what I've got on the day.
So are you coaching yourself?
Yes, I still coach myself. Yes.
Wow. And obviously it's working. You've stayed healthy, right? You stayed healthy. More importantly, that fire is still there. Obviously you figured out yourself, okay, I'm going to move away from 3-4 Ironman races a year. You've determined what works best for you. What have you learned about coaching about yourself by coaching yourself?
Yeah, exactly. I think the biggest thing is you have to know yourself, basically, and
right.
Which sounds easy, but it's not always so easy because we want to have illusions of ourselves at times. Okay, even a couple of years ago, I'd say I had a perception, oh, I'm by far the best biker in the whole sport. Well, everyone's also gotten a lot better on the bike, but then you realize, dang, these other guys are also really good on the bike, and by being honest with yourself, that's actually how you can improve, because you realize where there's a weakness, and therefore where there's a weakness, there's an opportunity for growth, and so I just try to identify opportunities for growth and then come up with a plan to get better.
And when you look at Nice and again, you've got other guys who swim more like you do, right? Do you look at some of those guys and go, okay, let's see if we can ride. If I find somebody to swim with, somebody's feet I can sit on, then I've got a little more of I'm not going to burn myself out doing this swim. And also I'll have some company.
Yeah. I mean, of course. I mean, okay. In the T100, there's a reason I never did the ITU, and now I'm literally in the ITU. I mean, it's like people say, oh, why don't you, like, how come you're not making there's one swim group to make usually in the T100, and it's being led by the likes of Vincent Louis. It's like, oh, well, Sam, just figure out how to swim like Vincent Louis on his feet. It's like, yeah, okay. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, I like to have all the belief in myself, but like, these guys at the T100 are unbelievable. Sometimes I actually think I do pretty good because we're all at the same hotel and we all swim in the same pool. So sometimes in the training sessions before the days, I'm like, oh my God, these guys in the pool are swimming like they're doing their little pre-race set, and they're doing a set I could never even imagine or dream of doing as their little pre-race. And they say like, oh yeah, I'm just doing my easy little pre-race set, and they're doing whatever, long course meters, 10-100s on the 120 coming in sub 110. And it's like, okay, well, I know where I stand compared to that,
Yeah.
But anyways, in Ironman, there's tons of guys frankly, there's tons, like, I'm like the 50th, probably better even if you look at the global field of Ironman, above the 50th percentile. And even at the world champs, I'm maybe still like I don't know, definitely not towards the front. But there's guys like Cam Worth, Trevor Foley. There's
Yes.
countless number of guys who swim like me who are also very strong on the bike and the run, and they can be good inspiration because Cam Worth's gotten up there. I mean, Sebastian Kienle is a great. Sebastian Kienle, obviously never the greatest swimmer, and he's won world champs. So
Yes.
I would say he's really my role model in that regard. Obviously, I know the sport's evolved, but he's a guy who's set out that that's possible.
Well, and just this course is just so, bike course is so ready-made for you. When we first started talking about this a couple of years ago, and just knowing that XTERRA background, just knowing the way you handle a bike, has it been fun training in Italy and just doing these pretty radical bike courses?
Yeah, honestly, it's like being in a video game on the bike. I mean, it's so fun. It's
back to your roots. It's back to your roots, man.
Yeah, now I'm at the point where I'm like, because I'm getting quite confident, but I'm also like, okay, don't take excessive risks before the world champs, because like you definitely don't want to go down at this point. And the real concern is just the roads are open to cars when you're training, obviously, and like I'm on roads that in America we would call a 1-lane road. They're a 1-lane road in America, but they're 2-lane roads plus bikers out here, and so you come around and the turns and the road's literally only 10 feet wide. So if there's a car there, you gotta be able to adjust very reasonably. There's rarely a car. That's the beauty too, though. Literally, I rode 5 hours 2 days ago. I think I saw like 40 cars the whole time, and 30 of those cars would have been like on a busy stretch of the road in a couple minutes.
Right, and I bet they're probably a lot nicer when they see a cyclist. Make sure they don't run your butt down.
Yeah, they are. Well, that's been actually one cool thing here in general is they're very like people when you're climbing, even in their car. Okay, they see you're like working hard and you're grunting, and they'll roll their most people roll their windows down, and it's like go go go, and it's cool to get that support.
I love it. Hey, Sam, I'm so looking forward to this race. I think that the nice thing is when you go into those T100 races, there's no expectations, right? That's a nice thing. They're saying, oh, Sam's here. Oh, let's talk to the guys who are going to go win the race. And I was like, and you can sort of float in, do your thing, gain what you need to gain from them. And then, if you have a great race, awesome, right? When you have one of those races where you get third or something like that, then everybody's like, wow, Sam had this amazing race.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally.
Nothing to lose.
In some ways, I'm actually hoping to sneak into the Ironman World Champs like that. I'm kind of hoping, okay,
I know. But I think that people are talking about everybody else, and I'm going, I just have this gut that Sam could be great at this one. Anyway, Sam, as always, appreciate all your time. Thank you for taking time to chat, and have yourself a great race. I think you're going to be that guy with a smile on your face all day long, man. Once you're out of the water, it's going to be Sam Long Day. I think it's going to be really fun.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for your time as well.
All right. Sam Long has been our guest again. Breakfast with Bob, our Nice edition. Hold on, everybody. We will be right back.